today's lesson will focus on more simplifying complex fractions. We've already done some easy ones, but these are going to be messier ones where we have pluses and minuses in the numerator or the denominator. To simplify those, we're going to use one of the important rules of algebra, but I'm going to do a real fast reminder of the 3 rules of algebra. You do not need to copy all of these words down. I've got it in a long form, and in green I've got a much shorter form. The first rule, short form, if you have an equation, you can add or subtract the same thing on both sides, and you haven't changed the problem. Second rule, if you have an equation, you can multiply or divide both sides by the same thing, as long as you aren't multiplying or dividing by 0. And then you haven't changed the problem, and you still get the same answers. Final rule is what we're going to use today. If you have a fraction, you can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same thing, as long as you're not multiplying by 0. Technically, you could also divide the numerator and denominator by the same thing as another way of simplifying it, but again, you can't be dividing them by 0. That's the one that we're going to be using. So, when we have something messy like this, it's messier than what you've done before because of this plus sign in the middle of that numerator. The most efficient way to simplify these is to look at all of the little denominators. So to do that, I need to first figure out, this is my main fraction bar. And so I have some little denominators here. I have P, I have ZP, and I have P. So what would be my least common denominator of those 3? Okay. It would be ZP, PZ, whichever order you want to write that in. So then what I am going to do, I'm going to keep my main fraction bar lined up, and I am going to multiply my main numerator all by ZP and my main denominator all by ZP. At this step in the work, I need to see that ZP written down twice to show me you're multiplying the numerator and you're multiplying the denominator by the same thing. You're multiplying the fraction by 1. Even if you go on and do the rest of the work right, I will take off if you only write the ZP down once, because that says in your work you're just multiplying the numerator. You need to show me you're multiplying by 1 to get all the credit in this class. So then what I need to do is to multiply this entire numerator by ZP and this whole denominator by ZP. It may be easier if I think about that as ZP over 1, so I don't try to multiply like the 3 by the ZP and the ZP by ZP. And I could do the same thing here if that helps me do it correctly. I have a parentheses there. So that means I need to distribute the ZP to both pieces. So when I first take ZP times the M over the P, do you see that the P's will cancel? That will leave me the original M that I had, the P's cancel, and I still have the Z. Then I need to finish the numerator, so I've still got the plus. And then I take ZP times the 3 over ZP, and the ZP cancels, and I just have the plus 3. Then I need to multiply the denominator, so I get SZP over P, the P's cancel, and I have SZ, and I am finished after just that one step. Question, everyone? Later. All right, let's do another one of these. So this one's messier. I've got pluses in the different denominators. So I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to line up my main fraction bar. I am going to identify my little denominators, which are a plus m, and y plus s. They don't have anything in common, So my LCD is all of that, m times a plus m times y plus s. So it would be wrong if I wrote my work like this, because that says only multiplying the numerator. So I need to also write it down here to show I'm also going to multiply the denominator by that whole same long thing. In the numerator, I have two terms, so I'm going to have to distribute. When I take the y over the a plus m, the a plus m's are going to cancel. I will still have my original y that I had, and I will have the m and the y plus s after the a plus m cancel. Continuing my distributing, this time the m's cancel. Still got my plus. I've got the original s. The m's cancel, and I have the a plus m and the y plus s. How's that for a nice mess for the numerator? Did I get that right? If I've got any mistake in there, let me know. Everybody sees anything. Okay, denominator, my whole y plus s is what will cancel, and I will be left with my original a and my m and my a plus m. So far, so good. Okay, now let's clean it up a little bit. Denominator's actually in pretty good shape. I can just leave that as a times m and a plus m. Now with my numerator, I could do just a whole bunch of distributing, see if I have any like terms, and see if I can come up with anything I can factor back out. Except on this one, if I look real carefully, notice I have something plus something else, right? I've got one thing here plus another thing here. And as I look at those two parts, they both have a parenthesis that's the same. So I can think of this y plus s as a GCF of both of those things. So I'm going to put my y plus s out here in front, and then that leaves me my for the first one. And for the second one, when I have the y plus s out in front, I'm just left with the s times this parentheses. So I can distribute that and say as plus ms. And is there anything else I can factor out of that parentheses that has three things in it? I don't think so. So I am finished, and that is as far as I can go with that one. What about any questions from anybody here? Example.